welcome back to the fifth lecture of this beginner Python course. So in this lecture, we are going to learn Python data types. In Python, or not just in Python, any other programming language out there, we have different types of data. We call it data types. So every single data we feed to the computer doesn't know which type of data it is. So computer uh, categorizes each type of input that's given, the data that's provided into a type of data, and that's called data types. In our previous lectures, we were always saying few names, knowingly or unknowingly. There were integers, there were float, string, for example, we are calling it text and string, but from now on, we are going to call text string. Alright, we are going to call it string and not text because we will learn at the end of the day. So video 5, different kind of values. So the first one is strings, which is nothing but text. Then we have integers, which include integers. It is integers, just normal whole numbers. And we have float, which is decimal numbers. Decimal numbers are mostly called as float. When you do a single division in Python, we get a float value. We don't get a integer value. That's when we have to do floor division. Then only we get a single division. Then we have Boolean. We will come back to this. Boolean is one of the, let's just say, a very big important thing in Python. Not just in Python, in any programming language. This is a fundamental in pretty much all programming language, not just in Python. So the basics, at the end of the day, the basics are pretty much available, almost as similar for every single language out there. The concepts at the very least, see, syntax is different, concept is different, and the concept is pretty much same for every single programming language out there. On the other hand, syntax is what differs for every single language, or the way a logic is applied, a concept is applied is what's different in every other language. So that's why I always say to remember the logic, remember and understand the concepts and not the syntax, because you will forget syntax. Syntax is different for every single, every other programming language out there, for example, Java, C, C++, etc. But on the other hand, if you remember the logic, you can, it's a logic and the concept, it can be applied to any other languages out there, and you just have to learn the syntax at that point. So when you learn the syntax is while you do practice. So that's why I tell you to do practice. That's why I have exercises in my course that I give you time for to do. And I know many of you cannot follow that. So when the time is not enough, or when in the term that you cannot do it, we also do the exercises ourselves. So that's very big things. I'm here to help you all. So that's one big thing I have to do. And that's what I said. I want you all to succeed. And by succeed, I mean to understand Python, not just Python, every other language out there. Because in this industry, at this point, you have to learn and study everything, know everything. Then only you'll be valuable and viable. So the core step in that process is to understand the concepts and not just by heart everything, or just or because in the case that you by heart and remember syntax, or you will forget it, and or maybe after an exam you will forget it. So that's not what you want. So coming to our lecture, this is Boolean. This is one we followed in every single other. We will come to what it is. Then we have type. This is a function actually. This is a type of function, but it is also, we will say that we will look into what it does. We have type conversion. We'll look into what that does also, which is to, this is essentially to convert this structure string into integer for Boolean like that. So, I mean, the name itself has it, it's conversion. We have common errors that are made. And just like as I said, I want you all to succeed. I want you all to practice. And practice makes a man perfect. Practice makes a good programmer too. So that's why I have 5 exercises and a mini challenge here in this course. So let's begin. First one is what is a data type. Data type, as I told you again, it's a different kinds of information is being stored in a computer. So if every single type is stored uh, in a way in a single place, it's gonna be trash. It's gonna be very difficult for you to understand everything where it is. And for example, if you take your household, if you go to your kitchen and if you have one big tumbler, and you add every single thing in it. You have masala powder, you have chili powder, you have salt, you have sugar. If everything is in that one single tumbler, is it any good? Is it any good? Of course, it's not. You want different type of dabbas for different. You need different type of dabbas for different items. So every single item or every single masala out there that you use in your kitchen is a type of data. So just think about that. It's just make that correlation. So every single ingredient that is in your kitchen is a data, and the tumbler that they're kept in, the dabba is what we call here, is called the data type. So you have salt as a data type. You have like that. See, that's the example I'm trying to say. So we have text that differs from numbers. Text, from now on, we are going to call text string. So string, which is different from numbers. We have whole numbers where that are different from decimals. And we have true or false. It's not like just word true or false. So true or false is basically a fundamental of programming. So because at the end of the day, computers work in a very literal way. It is this it? If it's not, what's next? Is this the right one? No. What's the next step? Like that. Like that's how you go. Like even if you take at the end of the day, computing is a process. So process happens step by step. So one step happening. What's the output? Is that what output you need? False, you go back again, or you go another route. True, you continue that loop. If it's false again, you go back or try another loop. Try another way of doing it. Something. So it's basically branch. That's computing. That's how compute works. True or false. So fundamentally, compute is true or false, and that's why you have 0, 1. Binary is a fundamental part of if computing computers, it's saying yes or no. It's saying true or false. So that's why Boolean is called a separate data type. True or false is a separate data type. And Python tracks these differences. Not just Python. Python surely tracks these differences, but not just Python. All other languages out there also track the differences. So data types, as we said again, are of mainly four types, main four types. The first one is string, str for short. It is everything single, every sentence, everything. It's a string. And we have int for integers. Integers are whole numbers. And when you say whole numbers without a decimal point, it's considered a whole number. It comes under the integer category. Text under the quote unquote comes under string category, and numbers with decimal point, even if it's after point zero, even if it's point zero or point zero one zero 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 or something like that, it's here 0.09, something like that, even if it's something like that, you uh, take it as even if it's 0.0, for example, if a point exists in that number, it's considered a float. Then we have Boolean, bool for short. It just denotes true or false. Going to the next slide. First one is let's learn every single uh, data type in detail. The first one is strings, words, and sentences. That's basically what strings are. Strings is words, sentences, or in the basic main text. Text is string. We were saying text before this lecture, before the second last lecture, and now we were saying it as text. From now on, it's not text anymore. In the programming world, text, words, sentences, anything, to be honest, anything that comes under double quote is termed as string, and it is needed a quotation mark. That's why quote unquote it needs a quotation mark. Anything that comes under quotation mark is registered to be as string. It is taken in as string. It is stored as string. number inside quotes are also considered text. And so is equation, so is everything else like that. So because we saw it, right? So 5 plus 5 inside the print function will give you 10. Just 5 plus 5 without the quote unquote. 5 plus 5 inside the function, inside a quote unquote, will give you only 5 plus 5. Like literally 5 plus 5. What you inputted, what you typed in there, that's what you get as output. That's what you get as output. So even numbers or equations or arithmetic operations, operators that are inside quote unquote is turned in as text. So we have an example here. Name is Alex. So name is a variable. Recall. People, recall. Name is a variable. Name is Alex. Message is hello Python. Message is also a variable. Number text is 100. This 100 is not a number. This 100 is a text. I'll show you. The new function which is equal to 100. Name is equal to Alex. Number x is equal to 100. If you print type uh, number, then if you print it, I'll close all these for you. I'll close the terminal also. I'll make it a clean interface. I'll do that. See, print the what is the type number text? What is the number text variable? What is its type? What is its data type? It's showing str. It comes under the class. It comes under data type str. Str holds for the short form of string or basically text. So that's one thing. Going to single versus double quote. I remember telling you all in the first or second lecture that you can either use single or double. Both works. Okay, both works. It doesn't matter double quote is used or single quote is used as much as it's closed. If you start a single quote or double quote, it must be closed. If you start a single quote, it must be closed. If you want a double quote should be closed. The quotes should match. The quotes must match also. You cannot start with a single quote and end it with a double quote. You cannot start with a double quote and end it with a single quote. You're starting with a double quote, you have to end it with a double quote. If you're starting with a single quote, you have to end it with a single quote. So for example here, let's see. Name one is a variable with the name Alex, with a string Alex as its data. Name two is another variable with the data Sam as its data. So let's try that. Name one is equal to Alex. Name two is equal to Sam. Then type name one. Same here. I'll clear this, run it again. See, the first one is also given as class string. The second one is also given as the class string. According to how you set a string, that's what we did here. That's when you make a new function known as type. Type tells us the data type that is being stored in a variable. And how do you use type function? You put a variable inside it and print the result. So basically, you are printing type of whatever the variable it is inside. So print bracket type bracket. Inside that, you put a variable's name. That's what we have here. Name is a variable with the data Alex. It's a string because it's under quotation marks, quote unquote. And now we are going to use the print. We are going to use the type function, which is to print type name. Print is only used in this place to show the output in the place that you don't need print. You only need to check if it's a type or not. You can always only use type. We will come back to it in the functions lecture, in which we learn if else and stuff like that, where we will learn this type. But in the case that's not the case, then you have print, because right now we need print to show you people how it's done. We need print. That's what we did here. See, for example, name one is Alex, name two is Sam. So I'm here showing, let's say, five. Uh, I wanna run it. See, yeah, we have to close it for you. Right again. As you can see now, print type of name one, which is the type of name one is string, because it's a string. As you can see, it selects, and the type of name two, as you can see out here, because it's a number, it's shown as integer. Int is the short form for integer in Python, not just in Python, pretty much any other language. So, see, that's what I'm trying to say. This is a very good function. You have to remember, even though it really doesn't come part of this, but you can always, people, you should learn it here. That's what I'm trying to teach you to. Type is a very important function to learn. In Python, type is a very boon because it reduces a lot of headache for a person, and that's what's being done here. You need to see if type exists or not. Type really exists. For example, in a say that if the type of text that's given is integer, then do this function. In the case that it is string, do this function. So that's what function if else loop. There we use this, and in some of the logic that we have to do, type function is a boon. Like it is literally a boon in the programming world for the Python community. That's good. One. Second one is integers, short form for int. Int means whole numbers. Integers mean whole number. Whole number, that is, it doesn't have any decimal points. Whole numbers are numbers that doesn't have any decimal points. It's even if it is point zero, it's not considered to be whole. It is considered a whole number. It is considered to be a different data type. We'll learn about it in the future. You already said it. It's float. Uh, so integers, they have no decimal points, and they can be positive or negative. Even float can be positive or negative, but they are integers can also be positive or negative, because at the end of the day, we are talking about whole numbers that are not having point. And numbers can be anything. Numbers can be from positive infinity all the way to negative infinity too. So it's two infinities extending from one direction and another one. So you can always add one. So infinity plus one is basically infinity, right? So it's a paradox. I don't know if it's a paradox or not, but yeah, uh, that's the thing. So infinite numbers, even if it's integer, if it's positive, it is considered to be integers. And the main thing in the integer, we you have noticed from now on, is that we do not use floats. For number and number applications and its arithmetic operations and all, we do not. use codes. Alright, we just don't use codes, which is a good thing. Right. In numbers, we don't use a codes. And in the case that we use codes for number, because codes, quote unquote, quotation marks, are mostly only reserved for text, mostly only reserved for string. So anything that comes under quotation mark is termed as is shown is being termed as string. Python or pretty much every other language out there takes it as a string input and not as a number input. So even if it is an integer, if it comes under a quotation mark, it will be stored as a string. We have a difference here. We have three variables that is storing integer values. First one age is 20, the second one score is 95, the third one temperature is equal to minus 5. Let's try it in VS Code. Age 20, height is equal to 183. So these are the examples of integers. So when you print and when you when if you check it with the type function, print type age, your number comes out as class integer, which is a good thing actually. Right? It comes out as class integer. That's what we are seeing here. Thing is going to be how we use the computers. So second is once again use type. So anything, any data type you want to check, you use type function. It is a function, it's inbuilt in Python. You don't have to make it, you don't have to do that function like that, isn't that okay? It's a function, it's how you make functions, your custom functions in Python, but type is already an inbuilt function in Python. You don't have to make that function. So if you can use or you can always use that to check positive integers or negative integers, if it's string or not, all kinds of that. From here, as we just did now, age is 20. It's see, age is 20. Height is 183. Number is another variable. It can be anything. For example, 53. Boom. We have print type age, print type height, yeah, print type number. On it for you, but you can see everything. See, all these commands are integer, and all we use the type function to check every single one of them. Type function is used to check all kinds of data types. So we use the type function to check all of these. So here it's integer, here's integer, all of them are nothing but integers. Now we have string versus integer, the comparison. String and integer one time. If it's text, it's easy. As I told you, string is basically text words and the sentences. But integers can also be text. Numbers are also text. As I told you, we saw before. Numbers are also text sometimes. When is it a string? When is a number a string? When they're under quotations, when they're under quote unquote. That's when numbers are also in under string sometimes. So they do very similar. A number can be a string. String can never be a number. So keep that in mind too. That's the thing that's fundamental in Python. A number, if you put it in there, output, it can be string, which is text. No matter what you do, you cannot get it. So one is numeric, one is text, and we're gonna check both. All right, we have a difference here, right? So yeah, for example, this is 55, right? We're going to make this under quotes. So what happens when you put it under quotes? Whatever that's under quotes becomes string. Whatever it's under quotes becomes uh. So I'll just show because this was the later one. This was the previous one, right? So this was the previous what do you call it output. So we know it all of them as integer. So now we did a small change here for the variable number. We're gonna run it again. The age here it's 20. No quotation marks. Age is integer. Height no quotation marks. It's just a number. It's termed as an integer. On the other hand, number, even though it's an integers, even though it's numbers, even though it's integers, they're under quotation marks, when whatever it's under quotation marks is taken as string, when the output comes, when the type function is used to check its type, it comes out as string. So go to the what why types matter. Just like I said before, just like how I explained before, same plus simple, different results. Numbers can add strings can be added to uh like that. Strings get added in a different way, and types also matter for a different reason. For everything to be easy to be judged, etc., to be used. Because if you have one big tumbler with all kinds of ingredients inside it, it's difficult. But you have each and every tumbler for each and every ingredients out there. That's easy. That's good, right? That's very good. So that's what that's the basics of why type is matters. So we will also do number add and string join. We don't say string add, we say string join, right? So that's one big part of it. Example age. So for example, if you print numbers can be added 20 plus 20. We print. On the other hand, if we have string 20, it's different. So we have string 20 plus string 20. Can you guess, alright people, can you guess what string 20 plus string 20 is going to give? Do you know what 20 plus 20 is going to give? Yes, of course, it is 40. What does string 20 plus string 20 give? Is it also 40? I told you when it's under string, I'll give you a hint. When it's a string is not changed. Even if it's an integer, string is taken as string. Even if it's an integer, if it's under underscore, if it's under quotes, it's taken as string. So what's gonna be? What's gonna be? Right? People, come on, what's gonna be? I'll show you. Voila! 2020, very very bad year for a lot of people, right? You know what? I'll play this for you guys, so it can be very easily visible. See? First 2020 because it's integer addition will give you 40. On the other hand, string plus string will not do addition. That's why we call it join. When you add a string and another string, there's the space between them is taken out. So they are joined. A string, a word or a text or a sentence is joined. It is no space, right? So no space joined with another word, string or sentence. So yeah, 2020 very bad year for a lot of us, for majority of us, I guess. At least it was for me. So yeah, for the people it was not God. It was not. It was not like that. For the people it was very good. Then do explain people why it's good. Let's make the class very enjoyable, right? So why not just do some sort of chit chat? Uh, the third type of input. Now, the third type of data type is float. So you might think it's float, something is floating, right? So what happens when it's decimal? So for decimal, I'll tell you a theory, even though it's kind of not, I'll tell you this to visualize it. So why float? Why is decimal number standard strong? Because the whole number part, which is if it's 30.xx or xy, the 30 will stay like that for a lot of xy values. Like it can be 30.01 and all the way to 30.9. All this time, all these x and y can change. It can float, but the whole number still remains same. Yet the whole, even though if the number is taken as entirely, it's changing. It's not 30.14, like 30.14 is not 30.15. It's changed. That's why we call it float. Uh, I believe. This is explained to me by my teacher. That's what I'm trying here. It contains decimal points. It is useful for measurements and prices because there are places where we need accurate measurements down to the points. We have not just two. I gave an example of two, but you have points that go way beyond like digits and digits and digits. Sometimes you division and it just goes on carry over point zero 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 like it goes right. So there are infinite number of points can also be there. So, and just like integers, because it's a number, it can be negative too. It can be negative, it can be measurement of S's and whatnot. Uh, height is, for example, height 1.75. It's a float, price 19.99, temperature minus 2.5. So we'll just do that. Age, like, equal to 183.7. Oh, that's a variable height with a value 182.7. Uh, temperature is the short form for temperature. Temp, we'll call it temp, is minus 3.5. It can be negative too. See, it can be negative too. Oh, we didn't have it there. The main one will be see, the answer is minus 2. I'll minus 4. It's more visible. But I'll tell you. See, temperature is printed minus 2.5. We'll add a label also. Why not? Temperature is minus 2.5. Good thing, people. So that's notes. Now, how do you check the same thing? How do you check any type of data types? We are just going to use the type function. Data type itself has the clue. Even 10.0 is a float. Even 10.0 is 10. 10.0 is 10.00000 till infinity is basically 10, but still it is considered as a float and not as an integer. Rate 10.0, print it, and check its types. You guys want to do it? I'll give you a chance to do it. It's very easy to it. I mean, the code is already written here. Oh, let's do it. In the case that you guys are not able to, here I am. Just comment this, go to the line. What was the question? Create float name 10.0, print it, and check its state. So, let's call it uh, temporary. We're gonna call it 10.0. That's a float. They're gonna print. So, what happened? Something I don't know. Something happened in the terminal. We're gonna write temporary. Now we're gonna print the type of the temporary. Print type tempo. What's gonna be the output, guys? Okay, I can't really see. What happened, man? I'll like do one thing. I'll just try it for you. I'll play it again. Now you can see it. See, uh, we printed the float 10, and we also printed the type, which is class float. Integer versus float, just like how we did integer versus string. We are gonna do integer versus float. 10 and 10.0, even though they are essentially the same numbers, uh, both are being treated differently by Python because, as I said, one is taken as an integer and the is taken as float because it has a decimal point, a point zero. Actually, you just do that. Then one is 10, then two is 10.1. We're gonna print type of each, then type them one. Oops. Print type them two. Now we are going to run it. The first one is given as I'll just clear this out for you so that you all can see it very clearly. So the first one is class integer, them one, only 10, like only one number, not a single point. We have class float, which is the second for 10 2 because it has a point because we type 10.1. Coming back, we have mix of int plus float, float, so we can add them. We can calculate with both, even though because at the end of the day, they are numbers. See, at the end of the even though it's different, like oops, sorry guys. Even though at the end of the day they are numbers, even though it's for example, uh, one is an integer, one is a float, 10 plus 2.5. That's like how it's being shown here. The result will be 12.5 because at the end of the day both are integers and hence the result will be 12.5, not an error. You cannot add integer. You can like you can do this. Integer plus float is very doable. That's what you can do. That's what you do, right? So let's try that. So also we are gonna print uh, sum one plus see 20.1. The answer will be 20.1. I'll just play this for you. Yes, at the end of the day, fundamentally they are numbers. Fundamentally they are numbers, and hence what can be done with numbers? Any type of arithmetic operations. So all that arithmetic operations are also done. Just because it's a number, it can be done. It's done. So 20.1 is the answer. Let's see what's the type of this. Like, what's the type of this? Because you can get the idea of that very now. See, sem1 plus sem2, right? So what's see? It comes on the float because there is a decimal point because it's the answer is 20.1. The type of the answer because it's a point, it has a decimal. It's a decimal number. It will be stored as nothing but a float of what happened. So we just did mix of integer plus float, integer versus float gated mix of integer versus float. Now coming to the one of the most interesting, one of the most important, one of the most very crucial part in Python, and not just Python, once again in all types of languages out there. It is a data type booleans. What is a boolean? A boolean, or for the short form, is called in Python bool, B-O-O-L, is true or false. It's binary, is like 0, 1. Here it's just that true or false. So it's true, it's false. And when you put the value, when it's a data type, so when you put the data type, be very careful. The capital letters matter. The first letter of true, which is T. T should be capital. Everything else should be small. For example, false. For the first letter of false is F. F needs to be capital. Everything else needs to be small. So that's the few differences we take. So we will just make two Boolean functions. Erase these. Let's just say if student is equal to false, is nobody equal to true. Wait, this is how we can see. For example, and we will just also print it. Print is student. See, the output is given as false. I'll clear it out for you. We'll run it again. See, the output is given as false because the variable student is having the Boolean value false. It's not text false because not equal to, this is not equal to this, but uh, false because this is a text. Because once I said everything under quotation marks are considered to be text, and this false is Boolean. And back Boolean example, because this is a two-state information, because it only has two states, either true or either false. There is nothing in between. Maybe there is no maybe, there is no might be, nothing like it. It's either this or that. It's either true, either false. So very absolute events like are you logged in? You are either are, you are either not. So that's where true or false comes in. Is the game over? It's either yes, either no. It's either true, it's either false. Is a task complete? It's an either yes, it's an either no. It's binary. It's either zero, it's either one. It's task complete. It's either yes, it's no, it's true, it's false. False. Sorry, false. For example, logged in, true, game over, false. We will try that. Log, oops, logged in is equal to true, log. No, game over, right? Equal to false. Print login. Game over. Also, I have to print the type. Print type game logged in and game over. Let's connect. Oops, there are within close bracket. You'll be having difficulty. We'll close this out. We'll run it again. See, the first one is printed as true. Is it logged in? Yes, true. Is the game over? False. What is the type of logged in? A variable value? It's Boolean. Boolean. What is the same for game over? It's Boolean. It's Boolean. See, it's Boolean for number one and Boolean for number two. No Boolean again for two. Only two information actually things. For example, it's either that or it's either not that. True versus true. That's what I said right now. Because here, non-text true is taken as Boolean, whereas with quotation marks, because anything that comes under quotation marks is taken as text, is taken as string. So this true, the same true, but under quotation marks, is going to be taken as a string. We will see an example. str string is equal to true boolean is equal to oh, we are gonna print both. Also gonna print the type of string and name. We're also gonna print the type of boolean and string, and we'll see. Here we are printing the string, it's true. We are printing the boolean, which is also true, because but this true is a boolean value. As you can see, the boolean one is giving bool as answer. It's let us see. Run again with a fresh terminal. See, the string one is saying true. The boolean one is saying also true. But this one is the only true. Like true boolean true. This one is a string. That's what we have here with data types. When we check it with data types, like the type function, the string one is shown as string, the variable having string because it's under quotes. And the true one, like the boolean, which is actually boolean, is coming under bool, which is a very good thing. Uh, let's go to the next one. Boolean case error. These are one of the most fundamental thing that happens in when you're dealing with booleans. Many assume case errors. When you try lowercase, it will give an error and you have to fix it because the first letter is lowercase, right? So, for example, if you take uh, check is a variable and naming, and for example, true. This right here is a correct boolean. This is how you say boolean. On other hand, if you put true, this is not a right boolean because this is wrong. If you print it, it's gonna give you indentation number because true is taken as a function and is hence not uh you know registered. It's not defined. Or you do like all small to get indentation error again. You have a syntax error again. So your name error again. So this true is different from OG as we call it. TRUE. The capital in when you are dealing with Boolean. The first letter of true or false, which is T or F, needs to be capital, while all the rest of the letters needs to be small letters. Going to the next thing, type recap. So we can check all four here. We have an exercise, a very small exercise. We check all four here. We have string, integer, float, and boolean. I'll give you some time. People go and check everything. In the case that you are not able to do, we will do it. This is taken as like this exercise is going to be type function recap. So this is the question. Check out for string, integer, float, boolean. Do it yourself. In the case that you are not able to, we will do it ourselves. We will do it together. This much time is enough. In the case that you're not able to, we'll do it ourselves. Come on. So first one needs to be string. So we'll do one. This is gonna be name Alex. The second one will be age. Gonna be integer. We're gonna call him. Yeah, he's gonna be 20 years old. The third one is gonna be a float. So we're gonna have him as 187.3 centimeters tall, and the other one is a student. We're gonna have him as true because he is going to university. Now we are gonna print each and every single one of them. Print what what this is. We're gonna print name. We're gonna print age. We are gonna print height. We are going to print all that. Now we are also going to print type, name, student, and all. Run it. See, the name is Alex. His age is 20. His height is 187.3, and he is a student. And all the classes shown, for example, just clear the camera for you. So run it again. See, the name Alex is printed. His age 20 is printed. His height 187.3 is printed. Is he a student? Yes, that's true. It's shown. And now all the data types is also shown. First of all, the name is a letter. It's a text. It comes under quotation, so it's given as stored as show. String. The number, no decimal point, whole number is stored as integer. This height 187.3. There's decimal number. There's point. There's number of a point after the decimal. You have float, hence it shows stored as float. Is he a student? It's under a Boolean one. So because it's a Boolean one, it's taken as bool. This was this tiny exercise. Let's go to the one. We will just predict the types in this. We will just say before running what would be for this. The type should be what? We'll go. I'll give it 10 seconds. So in the case, we will do it together. Times of people, hello, because the first one, hello, because it's under quotation marks, quote unquote, it's going to be string. 50, there is no decimal number, there is no quote, so it's going to be integer. 3.14, which is the value for pi, actually, and 3.14, which is the value for pi. Because there's a decimal, it is going to be float. False with the F capital is going to be under Boolean, and 50, which is an integer, but because it's under quote unquote, it's going to be treated as nothing else but string. The code to check all the types is this, so let's run it. When type allow type 20, print type 20.5, oops, run it. We'll see the one another one also. Print type First one is taken as string, the second one is taken as integer because it's just 20, the third one is named 20.5, and it's taken as float. The fourth one because it's capital F is taken as boolean. The fifth one because it's even though it's an integer, because it's under quote unquote, it's going to be taken. Oh, it's very difficult to see here, right? So just again, confusing to write guys. Once again, see, uh, because hello, anything under string is quote unquote is taken as string. Only number, it's float. Integer, a number with a decimal, it's float. False. The word false with capital F is going to be taken, and no quotation mark is going to be taken as a boolean. And even though it's an integer, because it's under quotation marks, it's going to be taken as string. So it will be taken as string. Six. The main thing in this lecture is going to be type conversion. Type conversion is one big important factor when it comes to this lecture. Change one type into another. Int, float, throw, bool. Anything can be changed into another. We'll see. First one is converting string into integer. The first one is going to be converting string into integer. Use int. So start with 25, check type, convert, check again. So the syntax of that is going to be this. So age is on the time, we're gonna turn int age, print. Like, I'll show you how it's done. Right, so I'll show you how it's done. For example, we have age is equal to 20. So this is what? This, as you can know, this is uh, a print. For example, here we'll print it here. Print type age. We'll print it. See, class is good point. See, run it again. See, age, even though it's an integer, because it's under quote unquote, it's going to be treated as a string. So the type of the variable age is being given as a string. So now we are going to convert this string into integer. That's where conversion uh, conversion functions come in. We are going to use the keyword, which is the small, the one we use, like the short form for the data types. That plus the bracket with what we have want to convert it into what inside that. That's in this case is gonna be the variable age. So we're gonna do that, and we are going to command this one. Yeah, just going to command this one. Okay, guys, that line is not needed, so we're gonna use here print type. Now this one will give you different things. Right? For a single point was left out by me. Sorry for that. See? Okay, I'll just clear this for you with them now so that it's only that output that can be easily understood and seen. Now here, see, we have the final output to be class integer. It is taken as integer data type. Now, even though once we started with it as the string 20, we converted it into integers. We converted it into integer by using the int function. This is a function that is used for making a variable that is not integer into an integer. For example, if it's also it's also, let's try it out. Boom, it cannot. So what, because it's an integer needs to be inside an integer. So because after at the end of the day, integer cannot be anything. So integer has to be integer. So that can also happen. So check if it's actually integer can only be turned into integer, nothing else. The same version enables match numeric text to number because here, like how we did, for example, here we did number int number. This 10, which is the integer, quote unquote, a strong string 10, is going to be turned into number 10 by the int function, and from that number we can add numbers. So we'll just do this very quick. Age, for example, the age for current, we can print. All right, we can print age plus. We can do that too. Okay, let's put in the terminal. See, we can do the arithmetic operation with this class int 55 because the age is 50. Now because it's a string 50, we turned it into integer 50 and we added 5 to it. Integer into string, we use str. So for example, if it started with age 20 and we are making age text strings, age, str age, print age text, print type age text. Basically, what we did there, exact opposite is what is being done here because here it's not going to be 50. Now that's an integer. Now we're going to turn it into str and we are going to print age. Beyond. Oops. See, now it's under class string. Oh, we'll just clear the terminal for that is easy. As you can see, it is class string and the number that's printed is 50. It turned into 50. So this 50 is not, it's not string. Sorry, it's not integer. Even though it started with integer, we use the str function to make it into a string. Just like I told you, integer can be string, string cannot be integer. That's what we had, the data we encountered before, right? So that's what this can be done. Integer can, the same applies for that. If you just change, integer can also be used to turn into float by just using the float one. So you here, you see in our VS Code, for example, str, we convert turned it into float, float. That's a new data type. 50 will become 50.0. So even though it needs to be an integer, 50 is going to be stored as float. And the main ingredient, the main difference in when you store anything as float is you add a decimal point. So when you convert an integer or string integer, let's call 50 and the fourth string integer, a string integer into float, it will automatically add a decimal point because it needs to be justified as a float. And how is any number, any integer justified as a float? You add a point, you add a decimal point. So that's what happened here. And so is float. Float can also be turned into integer with just the same int function. Anything can be turned into integer with int function, not string obviously. With an integer, they can be intertwined each other. Try, for example, here, try 9.8, convert, observe result. This is not normal rounding. This is one interesting thing that you see. G is what I'm gonna write, so it's gonna be 9.8 because gravity is approximately very close to 9.8, right? So we're gonna name that. We are going to be making, we're going to say G. The new G is going to be in G, and we are going to print G. Fine. Where is the point 8 now? You would believe that it's going to become 9 point, you know, uh, 98. You might have thought it's become, okay, maybe it's not pretty visible for the people. I'll show you. Print. The answer came out to be 9. Why 9? You might think it became 98, or you might think it become the most reasonable thing is this thing. It's 9.8. So that's where the reasoning I said before came into being. 9 still remains 9. The 9 is as if you take 9 as an integer, it still remains 9 all the way from 0.01 or whatever point 1 all the way till 9.9999999 infinity. Till then, the one after the decimal, which is the main 9, still remains 9. So when you convert a float with a point to an integer, it takes the most solid part of that number, which in this case for 9.8 is 9. It prints 9. That's a very interesting thing. Uh, and sometimes conversions can indeed fail. For example, not all text is numerical, just like how we write. You cannot turn hello, a string hello, into a number. You cannot turn string into number like that. So there's stuff like that also. That's also very thing. For example, let's try this out. Let's try this out, right, guys? Oops, sorry about that. Seriously. For example, here we have string hello. If you do it, we're gonna get an error saying that invalid literal for int with base 10. Anything that is under 10 needs to be having base 10. It should have a base 10. 9 has a base 10. If hello doesn't have a base 10 because it's not an integer, it doesn't have a base 10, it's a text. You cannot fundamentally do that. Right? You cannot just fundamentally do that. Variable can change that. You can start as int, replace it with string, and you can check for just like how we did right now. Value is 100 is value. Uh, Value can be hello also, for example. As I told you, because in this case, we'll just do this thing, right? So we just let's do it. G is equal to in G is equal to 100 in G. Okay, we cannot write. I'm run. Just to crowd it, we'll just do it again. It's like how we studied variables last lecture. Variables are updated constantly, and the last number is the only thing that's taken. So it can be 50, yeah, string 50, but the moment it's converted, it can be, you know, integer 50. But then you can add the g value to be something else or something entirely different too. The variable g can be entirely different. For example, I can take it. But if you print hello, guess what comes? See, variables only take into account the last value that was inferred to it. The last value that's stored in the variable is what is taken as the value for that variable. It doesn't matter what was stored in it before. It is what it is. So because last Python goes line by line, that's the main fundamental thing that happens. So the common mistake is quotes because numbers accidentally get stored as text because number with quotes is stored as text. Number without quotes is stored as integer because this is a very big misconception. The another common mistake you see is that integer 25 works, integer 25 fails, as I told you. Integer function, it needs numbers with base 10. It needs numbers with base 10 and for that to happen, it needs numbers. It can be a text number, or it can be a number stored on the string, but it needs when it needs the conversion for the conversion to happen, it needs whatever that it is trying to convert should have a base into 10. Which text? don't have, it will give you an error. So quick type challenge, we will print each of them. So name is Sam. Because it's under quotes, it's going to be, you know what, I'll give you the time for you to do this. So come on guys, do it. What's up guys? So let's do it. So first of all, name Sam. Sam, it's a word. The word is under quotes, so it's obviously going to be string. Age is 18. It's a number. It is not under quotes. It is going to be integer. Core 82.5. It is an integer. It's a number. Sorry, it's not an integer. It's a number. It's not under quotes, and it has a decimal point. Hence, it's going to be a float. Uh, Variable past with true with a capital T and no quotes. That's going to be a Boolean postcode which has a number but under quotations. That's going to be anything under quotations is text is string. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this case is going to be termed that as string. Even though it can be converted back into integer with the int function. The first one, exercise 1, identify types, Python 100, 5.5, false, okay. Just like what we did before. I'll give you 10 seconds. Come on, guys, do it. Alright, guys, time to check it. The value, the how we are going to do this. Well, first of all, you can use our mind to see the whole, if it's false, if it's not false, false, like that. If it's a number, if it's not a number, if it has a decimal, or you can always use the computer with the type function and see if it is what other type it is. Exercise number 2. I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. We have to create 4 variables. Name is string, age integer, height float, student should be boolean, and you have to print all 4. This is the code to do that. You can take a look at it. You can write it out. You can print. You can code this in your IDE or VS Code. I'll give you time for that. Much time should be enough. We are going to exercise 3, which is to check every type. Use exercise 2 variables. Print type for each one. Whatever we did over here, for all these variables, the variables we have made. We are going to check types for all those variables. So we have 10 more seconds, guys. It's not much of a deal, especially with auto type in VS Code. Come on, you can do it. So, guys, the code for the solution for exercise 3 is going to be this print, which is basically to use name, like type function for every single variable that we use. It will give you what type they are. Exercise 4, we are going to convert a value, which is number, the value under number, variable name number, which is actually a number which is being stored as a string. You have to check its type and you have to convert it back to int and you have to print the result after adding 10. This is a very good question. I believe you all can do it. I'll give you some time. Come on to it. Hey guys, this is the solution for the code. This must be very easy for you. You just have to use the type function and all the respective function of the data types. It's not that hard. You can always copy the code. Uh, you can pause the video also and copy the code. So I'll give you 5 seconds. Going to the last exercise. Integer to float. We have to convert integer to float. So we have a variable named price, which is having the integer value 25. We have to convert it to float. And we have to print it. And also check its type using the type function. Okay, this is done. It's a very easy question, guys. You can do it. It was a very easy question. This is answer for the question. You can always copy this code. We have a variable name price. We made it. We made it into a float using the float function. We printed a new variable because Python only prints the latest value. It will print 25.0 here. And then we also print the type. And in the case, because it's 25.0, it will become a float. It will print class float as an output. I'll give you some time to copy the code. And for a mini challenge, guys, we are going to make a type profile. We make a name as string. We make age as integer. We make height as float. We make likes Python as boolean. We are going to print every value and print every type of the value. Let's do that. Gonna have okay name is equal to. You know what? I will give you all some time to do it yourselves. In that case, we will then, you know, do it yourself later. I'll give you some time for the question. In the case that you are not able to, we will do it process. We'll do it together. Time's up. It's time to do it ourselves. Name. First of all, we are gonna take name as an integer. Name we are gonna have Alex. We're gonna have age as 25. We're gonna have height as float. I'm gonna have this Python as a boolean. We wanna print everything. We are also going to print type of all the Python, all of this. We need a go here, run it. See, we got all this, we all this, so it's only people. Run it again. See, we have the name uh, out as Alex. We have his age 25. We have his height 23.7. He is able to study Python. It has a Boolean as true. And all the classes, all the data type is also shown here using the type function. Alex because it's string. The second one is age. It's shown as integer because there's no decimal. Third one is height. It's has a decimal. And the last one is Boolean because it is true or false. That's why. Prediction. We are going to predict all the output and run explain differences. So first of all, print 10 plus 5. Answer to that is going to be 15 because both are integers. Both are not uh, string or something like that. Here, the second one is going to be 10 plus 5 because this is number string and number string 5 and you don't add string, you join them. So the answer going to be 105 in string format in string data type, not number. You're gonna have print float 10. Then with whenever an integer is converted into a float, it's gonna have added 10.0. Even though 10 is same as 10.0, the answer to this line is going to be 10.0. The another one is print integer 7.9. As I told you, it comes to the base of 10. Integer is only in the base of 10, so the point part is removed. So the answer to this one will be 7. So this is pretty much about our lecture today. Today we will just look into our recall, what we learned. Data types is completed. We learned about string data type. We learned about integer data type. We learned about float data type. We learned about Boolean data type. We learned about type function. We learned about different functions used for type conversions. We learned about the conversion errors. We learned about the changing types. We also did 5 exercises and a mini challenge. So I hope you all understood and enjoyed this lecture very much. We will meet again in the next lecture. Until then, take care.